And how about everyone being on camera?
Yeah, we're waiting for people to come on camera so that we can take a quick start of the session selfie. We're also excited to see all of you. Shobita, where are you? Rachna? Okay, maybe we can get started.
Sure, we can.
Uma, you finished the selfie? I hope not, right?
Yep.
Okay, nice. Okay, so I would like to welcome back everyone. I'm Priyanka Mehta, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be your host once again for this amazing technical conference series. Before we dive into today's talk, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this Saturday morning. Our first and second event, focusing on exploring the frontiers of AI, was a big success because it was all because of you. Your participation, your enthusiasm, and your love has truly set the bar high. And this energy is what exactly that makes high tech conference experience, and we are very excited to keep this momentum going on. So to provide a deeper context and insights on what the lean in is, what are the uh, uh, what is the lean in vision, and what is the vision of high tech conference that we are actually having it. So I would like to hand it over to Preeti to give us an insight on lean in as well as onto the high tech conference. Preeti, over to you.
Thank you, Priyanka, for, getting all of us kickstarted on this. And first of all, thank you for making sure that, we are having high tech always going on regularly. Thank you so much. Uh, Before I start, a little bit about I know most of you know about Lean, and for the people who have just joined, or who are not the members of Women in Tech India, just a quick update on how we got started. We got started in 2016, so we are kind of close to 9 years now in our journey of Lean In. I've been with Lean In from very long ago. I think when they got started, I was one of the first 25 recognized network leaders, and it was a privilege to be recognized at that point of time. And we continue to, uh, a lot of networks form and dissolve, but we are one of the networks who have consistently stayed from close to a decade right now and growing consistently. Every year, along with the volunteer team, be it we bring in a lot of new things, and that all happens because of the lot of volunteer brainstorming and new themes that we bring in. Right, and I think we had like a lot of it, by the way. Level Up. I think after pandemic, we started something called as Level Up series. Then we did this year's series is all about playing big. Our in-person event was a huge success, which we did, and we were totally thrilled for so many people joining. The Women's History of the Month, we decided we will do high, and what HI stands for is Her Innovation Growth Hub. Uh, the reason why we started HI was with a lot of thought process that went in behind. We started a lot of mentoring circles and all of that. But with HI, what we wanted to do is, a very focused way of bringing women leaders or, women technologists to give a platform to brand themselves. So this is a platform for you to brand yourself, and WITI, which we call it in a very short form, which is Women in Tech of India's focus on bringing this brand for a lot of women. And I love to see all of you in so many conference going together, meeting together, and I think the way each one of you are, showing up itself gives a lot of success for this community. And thank you so much for showing up in all the places and sending all those witty members photographs. That excites me always, right? And the high was with the same intention about, bringing. I think we do a lot of sessions on behavioral, how to show up at work. We did a lot of last year along with Shobita, we did it a women at work session, 2 cohorts. So this year we thought we'll bring a completely on technology side, and that's why the high is. We were successful. This is a third session of high. When we started off in the beginning, I know I and Smita were brainstorming on this, and we were like just thinking probably we would get, 1 or 2 papers, and we did have 25 good lot papers, and we're still, harnessing these papers to showcase each one of you here. And I'm very excited for today, extremely excited for today, and I'm looking forward to hear from Rucha and Gomati what insights they would bring in, and I'm sure all of you are. Coming on a Saturday morning is not easy, and I'm really very thankful for all of you to come together on Saturday morning. While I hand it over to Priyanka, I would also like to thank the volunteer team behind all of this. Of course, Priyanka leading these efforts on making sure she speaks to the speaker, selects the paper, Smita mentoring each of the people, reviewing the paper. We sit and make sure we review all the papers together, and also help the speakers speak about it. Uma, Saumya, and Divya, all of them, contributing to share a word. Social media, all of it, right? It's just like multiple hands, and most importantly, all the members, including, like, who are spreading these words, and all the volunteers, like Shobita, and many others, Shilpi, all of them who are part of this group to make us successful. I'm thankful for all of them. And with that, I'll hand it over to Priyanka to, get us started with. I'm sure all of you are excited to hear what's unfolding the rest of the day, and I'll let Priyanka to let us know what's there that's coming up next. Thank you, Priyanka.
Yeah, thank you, Preeti, for giving us an insight. Now, I would first like to introduce Gomti. She would be our first speaker. So, Dr. Gomti, she is an academic leader with an 18 years of experience in higher education, and she currently serves as the head of the Computer Application Department in CMR Institute of Technology. She has earned her PhD in computer science in 2019 and has presented her research at a reputed international conferences. Dr. Gomti, she's passionate about AI and innovative pedagogies and to enhance teaching and learning. She actively works on integrating technology into classrooms, developing active learning strategies, and creating AI driven tools to personalize student engagement. So I would hand it over to Gomti for her session. So let's hear it.
Yeah. Thank you, Priyanka, for the introduction, and thanks, Preeti and Lenin for the opportunity. Yeah, I just take a moment to share my slides.
Sure.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to go. Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be part of the third session of HIGH. This is the topic, this is the tool which I'm going to talk about for the next 15 minutes. ByteBuddy, an AI-powered platform for personalized learning. So the driving motivation behind this, as an academician, usually the strength of my class is 60. And when I especially do a programming context, when I do a programming sections, how can I possibly give each of my student in the class the timely and the individual help? So this was the motivation behind the application ByteBuddy. So what if this is just a chat away? So ByteBuddy can act as a teaching assistant along with me in the class, where it can help my students to clear their doubts in terms of programming by instantly explaining, debugging, or guide them in correcting an error when I do the instruction in my classroom in front of them. So what is something which is different with ByteBuddy with respect to Copilot is it is aligned to the course content and the difficulty level as a teacher, as an educator, what I wanted my students to learn in that particular hour. So that is what is something which is very significant about ByteBuddy. So I'm introducing ByteBuddy now. ByteBuddy is an AI-powered teaching assistant. It receives a student's query in a natural language through a conversational interface, and it is through the backend with the business logic. It can be aligned with the curriculum which I wanted to deliver in my class, and it also invokes a Gemini API which gives a response, accurate response to my class. And once I receive the accurate response via Gemini API, it also returns back to the format readable by the student. So this is an end-to-end application where it has an IDE inbuilt in it. So this is the icon. The purple color is a ByteBuddy icon, and this gives the student an IDE where they can enter their code, which I expect them to do while I do the instruction in my class, and it will help them to detect the real-time errors, and it can also provide an hint to them to correct their errors or to prompt what can be the next type of a questions which they can ask the ByteBuddy. So the most aligned with it is the instructor teaching. So what I wanted to deliver in the class with the help of the teaching assistant, simultaneously it gets sync with everyone in the classroom. So that is the main idea. Quickly, I'll glance through a demo of ByteBuddy. Let me know once it is getting played. You're able to see my demo, the screen moving in?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the demo of the tool. So what we have is the IDE, which is being incorporated inside this particular platform, wherein student will be able to write their code there, a chat window which has been added to it, through which the student can query the problem which they are trying to solve, and the ByteBuddy will help them to solve their issues. So I'll show you a basic registration here. A basic registration is done in this particular page, along with a little bit of validation. So it's an academical project to start with. So we ensure that every part of it is being recorded, including the validation of it. So here I have a set of problems which I expect my students to solve in my class and even after the session. So one of the problem is being picked, and I have an IDE window where they'll be able to type their coding there. We have a sample test cases which is expected to be given as an input, and they will also see how the output will look like so that they write the program in such a way. So towards the right side of my screen, my chat window is getting popped up, where for this particular question, whatever support is required for that student, that is being designed with this chat. So as much as possible, we have given much effort in just giving the hint to the student. The entire coding will not be shared, or a line of code is not getting shared with the student. How to solve a particular problem, the hint for that problem is being prompted, is being shared. And the more question the student prompt, the more in detail we will be delivering the solution. So the solution is in the term of int. So right now the platform supports two programming language, Java and Python. So towards the end of the screen, we will also see the input and the output, the number of problems which an individual student has been assigned, how many they have solved, how much time they have spent on these platform. All these analysis will also be viewed by the students. That's a quick demo on my tool. I also have a link up which shows the demo, the front end of this particular tool. So moving to the sequence, the technical flow of this particular tool. So a student submit a query which is being loaded as a JSON payload to the ByteBuddy front end. The ByteBuddy front end is designed using React, and this React framework accepts the received query from the student and sends the query to the ByteBuddy backend. The ByteBuddy backend here is Node.js. The Node.js, through its middleware, authenticate whether a student belong to my class or not. So the basic authentication is done by the middleware to ensure whoever are in the classroom are accessing this particular code and are there with me. So they also introduce an analytical layer. So as an academician, it's not just only the application development is important for me, how the data is being captured by the tool, and what type of an analytics I can perform in the tool mode. That also is very important. So in this particular framework, they have also introduced an analytical layer. We have a multiple version of this particular tool. The version 1 and the version 2 had used NoSQL DB, and now we are having a vector DB2. So the NoSQL DB will have the profile information about the students, the basic information about the student, their USN, the semester which they are studying, the course which they are studying, and they will also have how much time this particular student has spent in this particular tool, and what are the different problems they have solved, how much time they have taken to solve a particular problem, and what are all the different events, what are all the different activity the students have performed in this particular tool. So all these data are captured and stored in NoSQL DB. So retrieving these information, student query, their data, the interaction with this particular tool, and their profile, all these three items are gathered, and then it is being passed through Gemini API through Gemini SDK. So the first version what we used is Gemini 1.0 Pro. So this version has helped us to get the logic or get the hint, and post Gemini API gives us this response. It moves to a step called as a post pre-processing. So this is an covered environment, so a safe environment for the student. So whatever AI gives, that data is not shared with the student directly. In the backend logic, we have written the business logic for post-processing the response from the Gemini API. It will ensure that the response given by the API is specific to the problem which we wanted the student to solve, and what type of a response is required. For example, the entire code should not be shared. So that kind of a logic has been written in Node.js, and in the post-processing, that business logic is being checked, verified, and then the response is given back to the student. So during this particular process, in order to find out the efficiency of the model which we are using, and also in order to perform more analysis in the future, we collect the log usage, the latency, the relevance, and the engagement, and also provide analyzed insight to the teacher. So this is not going to be just one person being using this tool. This can be open up to any teacher who wanted to have a teaching assistant in the class, similar to me delivering a programming concept specific to Java or Python. So we will also provide and analyzed insights in the teacher's dashboard. So this is the technical overview of the ByteBuddy tool. So we have three different parts in this particular flow. The response from the ByteBuddy. If the student has no error, they can go ahead, submit their quiz and go around. And if everything is fine, what we get as an end user, say as a teacher or as a student, is as a student, you get an immediate support that if you're not able to solve an error, if you're not able to solve a problem, through this teaching assistant, you will get an immediate support to solve the problem and be aligned in the class so that you actively learn during the teaching learning process itself. For the faculty point of view, what we get here is whether the student is really doing what you are expected them to do it in the class. So their logs have been recorded in this particular tool. Post the class, the teacher can analyze and see how many of them were there with you in the class during your instruction, and how your teaching instruction can be modified in the future so that everyone in the class gets benefited through that. So what next? So I have a tool. I have my students who can work on that particular tool and solve their problem and get benefited be aligned with what the teacher is teaching in the class. So in academical point of view, a step after the tool is analyze the data which is being collected with the tool. So what if every line of a code your student has written could whisper back, showing not just what went wrong, but how their entire learning journey has been unfolded step by step. So this is the next part of the interest of this ByteBuddy tool. So we had different layers: the pedagogical layer, which will decide what have to be delivered in the class; the input layer, which will decide what can be captured from this particular tool; the processing layer, where we can store the data; the output layer, which can be shown as an output to the outside world; and the data layer with the feedback loop, which says where a student can be modified or where a teacher can be modified in terms of their instruction. So I'll quickly glance through the research work, what we have done through this. Through 25 postgraduate students, MCA students have used this ByteBuddy tool in the year 2024 for 20 hours. We captured their data. So many data have been captured in this particular tool, but for this particular research purpose, we have identified 5 events, namely code execution, error detection, prompt suggestion, error correction, and quiz submission. So these were the different events which we have captured for the students. And using process mining technique, using a specific algorithm called as heuristic process mining, I've come up with these 2 diagrams, which is a directly follows graph and dependency graphs, which will show us from one event to other event how many students had a same pattern, or was there a dependency between a couple of events. So these 2 diagrams show us that part. Acknowledgement and the publication details from this particular work. Here I am in my cabin with 3 of my students who have contributed for this particular project. Manjunath, Anish Krishna, and Sai Tejas, of 24 passed out students of MCA from CMRIT. So all these 3 students have worked with me on building up this ByteBuddy application. And post this application and usage of it, we have also done a research paper and published this research paper in an IEEE conference. I'm opening my research work quickly for a glance. So I have a co-author, Dr. Vijay Lakshmi V from SRM University. Both of us have gathered the data from this particular platform, and we have come up with our research work, and we have published with analytics using process mining, like how this tool was effective in identifying what is the loop which has to be followed in order to improve the efficiency of the teaching learning process. So I'm done with my presentation, and I'm open now for any questions on this, and I'm really excited to be here. And thanks again for the opportunity.
Okay. If anybody has, I could see there is one question from Molika. Is it free? The tool that you showed, is it freely available?
Yes, it has been built by us. We have opened it for few people for usage, because right, when you hit the APIs, it depends on the number of usage you have to pay for it. So we have kept it open. Like, if I can give you the access, user credentials, then you'll be able to use it.
Yes. Am I audible? Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. So, Dr. Gomte, it was really insightful. Being in academics, I was aware that there are such tools, but knowing directly from a teacher and a professor who is using that, it was really helpful. So I'll get back to you if you don't mind. If you can share in the group the details, or the host, so I can get back to you by email for the, like you said, for giving access to the resources and more insight.
Yeah, definitely, Molika.
Hi. Thanks for the presentation, Dr. Gomti. So it was really insightful. So just one question I want to ask from like what I understood it. So basically the vector NoSQL database that we are using is for the context building, right? It is helping in
Yeah, what we are trying to do here is using NoSQL database. MongoDB is our backend database. What we try to do here is the tool which we have built capture some of the events which the students are doing. Say the student log in and they go click in one particular way, they move to a particular window, try to solve a problem or come out of it, try to do a similar exercise or a different exercise. So all these events have been recorded and stored in our MongoDB. So the version 3 we are also introducing with Vector DB. The point why this is, when we started this in early 2023. So this is not an ready-made tool. This tool was developed by the students from scratch. So when we started, no, that time RAG and the concept of Vector DB was not so popular. So our context here is to capture the data, which the events which the students are performing in the tool, and store it in the NoSQL database. And what we try to retrieve from there is the profiling of the student. Say now, if I know the student is already of a particular level, the type of a hint which I'll be giving to my student will not be very complex, will be very simple. So knowing them, knowing what level my student is and how well they are already interacting in the same platform will help me to suggest them with the prompt and to give them an hint which might be very easier for them to follow up. So that is the main intention for our database. So not just the student query is just like that forwarded to your Gemini API. We also have the student profiling, plus check the authentication, like whether this user can use this particular platform, do all these exercise and then pass it to the API for the output. So that is the intention.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other question?
I have one query.
Yeah, please.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah.
Nice
Thank
app.
you, Hitna.
So I just had one query to you. How did
Yes,
you
Kate.
come to conclusions, or how did you come to, an understanding of what platform is right for a particular app? So how did you think that these are the right platforms that will be useful for my app? How would
So what do you mean by right platform? You use the technology like React or
Yes,
Node.js. Yeah.
your backend
Um,
and even Gemini API. So you came to a conclusion that these are the apps that could help me build this app. So how did you get to this conclusion, as in this will help me to build this app?
yeah, to be very frank, it's a trial and error basis, and also the strength of the team. See, I don't have the thing of recruiting the person with the skill which I want, right? So these three students were my interns, like they were studying, pursuing their MCA, and based on their strength and based on what they can build, so that is how the team got joined. So to in back in 2023, right, using the AI, using Chat GPT was more famous than making using the API or using AI as part of your application. It was just budding. So being in an my PhD was also from an analytical background, learning analytical background. So having this background of experience and building models even before using these as an API. So what we fixed is we tried to use some of the APIs and saw the response of it. And Gemini API model, which is I think version 1 Pro, right, back in 23. So that had a better results. So what we usually do is we pick 3 or 4 models, try out for these models with some kind of a metrics, and then decide what model can be incorporated here. So that is in terms of a model or any type of an algorithm which I use for my research. But with respect to the front end or the back end, we would have, by like anyone else, we would have thought whether we have to go for a platform, a Python based platform or a Java based platform, or even Flutter, which can support us for multiple platforms, all that. So we started with React, but slowly moving towards Flutter. because right, asking everyone to get your laptop to the classroom may also not be more feasible for everyone. So maybe the student will definitely bring the mobile. So using mobile phones in the classroom, through that if we can interact, so that also. So version by version we had an improvement, but our first choice was React. And MongoDB again was the thing for NoSQL database, because we had a different types, like not all events will be captured. There might be a question which is posted not as a text but also as an image. So different types of data was coming in. So that is why the option of MongoDB we have picked.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Kitana, for joining. And Kitana is my alumni.
Oh, nice.
I think I also have my current student here. I just want to shout out for her. She has a university exam. In spite of that, she has joined. I think Nisarga is here from my class.
Hello, ma'am. Your session was really inspiring. It was really good.
Thank you, Nisarga.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any more last question? Else we'll move to Rucha. So.
Yeah, I have a question. Hi, I'm Asha here. Dr. Gomti, your presentation was very nice. I really like the concept which you have brought in for the students. I just have one question. This model will tell us the area of improvement also for the students, like where they are lacking.
Not exactly where they lack. I just give them an instruction. Say, I wanted them to solve a particular problem in my class, and later I just ensure that whether they are able to solve this particular problem. So this is not like you are in level 1 and you have to do these recommendations. This particular app is not acting as a recommendation system. So it will not recommend how will I go to my next level or the third level, but maybe we can enhance it in the future. Right now the objective of the tool is to have a active learning. Like when the students are there with me in the class, that 1 hour, that 60 minutes, they are with me, and whatever I expect them to do, they are with me in the class. So that is the motive. And it's not going to be very tough to add a feature to it as a recommendation system. Say right now you stand here, and this is the quality of your code, and this is how you have to improve to move to the next level, is doable. Yeah, but right now my tool doesn't have that feature.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Asha.
So if there are more questions, we would take them at the end, because we'll give Rucha him, because we all also want to keep the time check. So thank you, Gomti, for such an insightful session. The Byte Buddy would it would be a valuable resource for many of the students and teachers alike. Next, I would like to introduce Rucha, who would be our second speaker for the event. So Rucha is a data engineer at Microsoft with over 8+ years of experience in designing and implementing solutions for complex business challenges, specializing in big data engineering and analytics. She holds a master's degree in Big Data Analytics from VIT Chennai. Her technical expertise spans PySpark, Spark SQL, Azure Synapse Analytics, Databricks, Azure Data Factory, and Azure Data Lake Storage, and Power BI. Recently, she has been actively exploring and applying data science and AI/ML techniques to enhance analytical solutions and drive innovation. So let's hear out from Gomti what she has for us. Sorry, Rucha.
Thank you, Priyanka. Let me share my screen.
And Rucha, while presenting, if you can come on video, that would also be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am really honored to present our research work in today's conference. This research would not have been possible without my teammates. I would like to introduce my teammates, Shivani Soni and Sita Aloni. So we have worked together on this idea to get this idea into life, and I'm really excited to share our findings. Main motivation behind this research was traditional engineering methods actually are increasingly strained by manual work. So when I talk about engineering methods, we have specifically focused on engineering lifecycle here and referential integrity implementations for data quality analysis. I'll go through each of them in detail in further slides, but this was the main motivation: the manual and time consuming tasks across software lifecycle and referential integrity implementation. We have explored how AI can help in minimizing this manual work and optimizing this lifecycle as well as data quality implementations. When I talk about challenges in traditional data engineering, as we are focusing on two major areas over here, there are execution bottlenecks in traditional data engineering lifecycle, software lifecycle, manual workflows, which are legacy workflows in code analysis, debugging, and documentation, that they really slows down the development as it has lots of manual work that goes into that. Also, when you talk about debugging, it demands deep analysis of logs or the errors and also code to debug that code and come to the conclusions. So in these areas, AI really helps out. When I talk about AI, we have utilized Copilot, GitHub Copilot over here to optimize these workflows. And when I talked about data integrity enforcement, bottleneck. So enforcing referential integrity across diverse sources is really error prone. When you talk about just two data sets, it can be a little bit easy because you have less fields to compare, you have less entities to compare across, and then implement referential integrity across them. But when you talk about complete data model, when you have n number of entities, it's really hard to scale and error prone because lots of manual work goes into the analysis and generation of configs. When I talk about config generation, it actually is manual mapping. So I'll go through little bit of context of referential integrity in next slide, where I'll explain these terms, what mapping means, what is the config generations, and what exactly referential integrity stands in the space of data quality and how it helps in the data accuracy implementations. Manual mapping really fails to adopt changes, resulting in poor data quality. So when we talk about adopting changes, when there are new data sets or new entities gets added to existing data models, there has to be again manual implementation of mappings that has to be done by data engineers. And here it really fails to scale. So these are two major areas we have tried enforcing or utilizing AI models as well as AI frameworks where we can optimize these workflows and processes. I'll quickly go through little bit of context about referential integrity. So what is referential integrity? Referential integrity is important in the area of data quality because it ensures relationships between tables and data sets are valid and consistent. When we talk about validity and consistency across data sets, if you consider one particular data model, let's say it has n number of tables. Here, just for an example, I'll pick a pointer. Here, just for an example, I have defined a data model which has three tables: customers, orders, and order item table. So if we have these three tables in a data model, implementing referential integrity across these data sets is nothing but defining mappings between these tables based on the keys, primary keys and foreign keys. So if you look at customers and orders table, customer ID is a common field. So this can be the mapping between these two tables. Similarly, between orders and order item table, order ID can be the mapping key. Now, when traditional engineering processes we talk about, engineer has to define these mappings manually. And that process is really error prone and time consuming when there are n number of tables or entities are present in the data model. Now let's say if there is new entity comes up in this particular data model apart from these three tables, then the manual work comes up for comparing complete column name schema, its primary key, foreign key constraints, to each and every table of the data model, then defining the mappings and then implement the referential integrity checks over here. When I talk about referential integrity checks, what does it mean in the data quality world is, for example, this C002 entry in customer ID is not present in orders table, right? So this is the referential integrity violation between these two entities. And as a part of data quality, we highlight this particular record as a data quality issue. Similarly, we will check with another two entities as well. So this is exactly the process that we are trying to automate over here with the help of AI. This is the prompt, which I'll go through once I explain the steps in detail for the referential integrity. This is the very high level process flow for referential integrity implementation solution that we have done using AI. First step will be input collection. We'll be collecting input from the user. Input will have schema details and sample data. Once input is collected, that input will be passed to the prompt or AI model. AI model here we are using ChatGPT 4o. I'll go through that as well in the upcoming slide. But that particular input will be passed to AI model. The prompt tuning will be done. Prompt tuning also I'll talk in the detail in the upcoming slide when I'll go through in detail. After prompt tuning is completed, OpenAI will pick up those informations along with prompt and your input data, and it will generate the configs. Once the configs are generated, it will be validated. Here we will have HIL, which is human in loop. We'll have that validated with the users, business analyst, and once we get go ahead from their end, we'll deploy those configs, and referential integrity checks will be auto implemented by reading required source datasets. That's how we have maintained configs as well, that the parts of the datasets will be stored in the config. Automatically those datasets will be read and the integrity checks will be implemented and the final output would be generated. I'll go through each step in detail now. When we talk about input collection, we will not only pick up column names. So here we will pick up schema details. Schema doesn't mean only columns. It means column names, data types, constraints. When we talk about constraints, what are the primary keys, foreign keys? Apart from that, we will also extract some sample data from each entity. Now here, initially when we were performing this check or when we were doing this research, we tried passing only columns initially as an input. But what our observation was that our model is hallucinating because it was not able to map column names to the context exactly. So it's not necessary that every time columns in particular entity will define or give details about what that column will hold as information. So this was the step where we included sample data as well. One or two records of each entity were passed as a part of input, and then we compressed that in a JSON format that was passed to the prompt. When I talk about prompt tuning, when you define any prompt in AI model, you need to give very specific instructions that what your AI model is supposed to do, what your AI model is, how your AI model is supposed to perform. When I'll give you examples. So if you can see here, I have pasted our example prompt. Here we have specifically told AI model to identify relationships between following tables and provide output in strictly CSV format. And we have specified what is the structure we want in the output should be generated in. All these details, when you give as a part of prompt, AI model will have very specific details of what he needs to do and how it needs to perform. Here, if you can see, we have parameterized this particular form, user prompt. Here we are giving table schema and data in the JSON format. So this is how it will dynamically pick up schema and sample data for every table when it comes to referential integrity analysis, and it will perform properly. Once prompt tuning is done, the prompt will basically generate, your AI model will basically generate referential integrity configurations with the help of given prompt and input data. Here we have used GPT-4 model. When I talk about GPT-4, we actually tried using other models as well, like GPT-3, GPT-3o, but this was the best model that performed really well. And the reason behind that was GPT-4o enhances schema-aware reasoning. So these are the specific features which are specific to GPT-4 model, and that's why it really performed well. It hallucinates less when you come to this particular use case. Once your configurations are generated, when I talk about configurations again, whatever I talked mapping in the previous slide, right? The customer ID and order ID, those mappings are nothing but configurations here. So those mappings will be generated from our AI model. Once those mappings are generated and validated from the business analyst and data engineer, actual data will be read. For example, customer table, orders table, all those data sets will be read from the specific locations. Implement this referential integrity will be implemented, and specific records where the referential integrity is failing, those records will be flagged. This is the complete flow. I'll go to impact. So integrity detection was done with 90% accuracy. When I talk about integrity detection, when all the tables are merged together and we are able to figure out that how much accuracy referential integrity holds in every pair of table, we were able to capture it till 90%. New check onboarding was accelerated by 80%. So whenever there is any new entity that has to be onboarded, when I talk about entity, it's table. Any new data set, table or entity that has to be onboarded into data model, that was accelerated by 80%. And the obvious reasons, as I explained, were the manual work of the configuration generations, analysis of schemas of the new entity with existing entities to implement RI checks was, we were able to accelerate that. And overall productivity was increased by 75%. So because of these steps, we were able to optimize our overall productivity, because almost all the steps we were able to automate using AI. Now I'll go to next step, which are engineering processes. Engineering processes, software lifecycle, we were able to implement or use GitHub Copilot, not implement, we were able to utilize GitHub Copilot in different stages of software lifecycle: code development, documentation, debugging, and testing. And these were the impacts. Code development phase, these are basically, just to give an context, as you all know, these are multiple stages in the code development. And when we develop any software in the industry standards, we need to follow specific processes, specific steps to implement that software end to end. In each stage, we were able to optimize each step. Code development, we were able to optimize it till 40%. Documentation, we were able to reduce our manual workload by 45%. Debugging was 40% time reduction, and testing cycle time we were able to reduce by 35%. I'll go through each stage in detail a little bit. In code development, how AI was able to help was, when based on the user query or user input, AI actually generates intelligent code suggestions. When user gives specific comments or specific function definitions, AI takes that as input and it will give you suggestions for the code completion. It will have context awareness of your code base. It will analyze your code base. It will have understanding of what your code is exactly doing. What is the end outcome expected out of your code? What are the inputs? And based on that, it will generate the suitable suggestions which you can use to implement your code development. It will generate secure and ranked suggestions. When I talk about secured and ranked suggestion, while generating code suggestions, AI will keep in mind that it has to follow coding standards from the security perspective. For example, whenever you are using any key or password in your code, you don't need to hard code it. You should not hard code it, and you need to save it in some another variable. Or when very specific Azure or Microsoft Azure perspective, there are multiple methods with which you can save your passcodes. So you need to use those methods. You don't need to hard code it. So those suggestions also will be provided by AI. Ranked suggestions are nothing but while generating your output, AI will generate multiple outcomes and it will rank it based on the uh, optimized way, or it will be ranked based on the context, how you want your output to be based on your prompt. It will rank the suggestion and you will only see the finally highest ranked suggestion in the output. It will also have adaptive integration of code generator. So basically, over the period of time, AI will actually learn how your project is defined, how your code is written, and it will give you the solutions in the similar way, so that the integration of suggestion that AI is giving, that integration into your code is smooth. When I talk about debugging stage, it will have real-time static analysis of the code. So basically, it will analyze your code statically, what are unused variables, what are syntactical errors in your code, and it will give you debugging suggestions and code fixes accordingly. It will have error-based log generation is another really good GitHub Copilot. It will actually give you log suggestions where to add log statements. It should not be too much detail, but you should not also miss out important places where you have to log the statements. So all these log strategy suggestions also is a good feature that's given by AI, basically GitHub Copilot here. Next phase in software lifecycle is testing. As we all know, test case generation is really time taking and manual work. So AI really helps to generate comprehensive test cases which will have complete coverage of your code. So basically, when I talk about code coverage, it will cover all the corner case scenarios and it will help you generate test cases. Untested code paths also will be tested with this. As I said, it will cover all your corner case scenarios. It will give you intelligent fix suggestions based on the coding best practices. Again, after test case generations, it will give you code fixes suggestions as well. Last and final stage in software lifecycle is nothing but documentation. As a software engineers, we all know documentation is the last thing we want to do when we develop any software, any solution, as it is really manual and it's time taking. So here, AI really helps in generating documentations. Its NLP based code understanding really helps. So it will go through your code, it will go through the data sources you are using, it will go through the syntaxes you are using, it will try to analyze the complete link of the code, how code is flowing from start to end, and it will try to give you comprehensive documentation around it, that these are your sources, this is what your code is trying to perform. And also, if you ask for the suggestions, it will give you optimization suggestions as well as a part of documentation, which you can document as a future work. Developer reviewer customization is another cool thing, that once the document is generated, that document also can be updated based on the reviews from the developer. Developer can review the document. If developer feels that you need some changes or updates in specific part of the document, based on the developer suggestions, it will customize the document. It will give you updated document. This is again human in loop feature, which is really helpful. It actually gives control to user. It doesn't feel completely automated where you don't have control over the document that's been generated. You can customize it based on your specific inputs. While exporting the document, you can actually export the document into multiple formats like PDF or Word document. Whatever format you tell it to export to, it will export the document and you can actually use it in your code base. To conclude, AI is really helping engineering domain to optimize existing workflows so that engineers can use it to focus on more innovative implementation. They can reduce manual efforts in existing workflows. And as a team, we were able to explore two major areas. One was software lifecycle, and another was referential integrity implementation for data quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Richa, for such an insightful session. I'll open up for any questions that we have. I have a question, so might be I'll start with my question and then people can pitch in. So I could see like in your the tool you showed, so it has an validation and a deployment stage where the validation happens. So basically, what is the validation step entail? Like, is it a human review or like are you doing an automated checkpoint through a set of some predefined business rules, deployment rules, or like is it solely through the human review?
It's solely through human review. So we have kept that step, as I said, to have that surety of we are not giving complete control to AI, right? That whatever output is being generated, that has to be validated from the business stakeholders. That this is what we think is being generated, and once they confirm, as a data engineers, by looking at the data, we also need to confirm, and business stakeholders. Once we get that confirmation from humans specifically, then only we go ahead and implement the checks.
Okay. Got it. Good. I have another question. So,
Yeah.
like you mentioned that, so the tool exactly gives about 90% of the accuracy. So,
Yeah.
like, can you just, if you have thought of like any other edge cases that actually would come into the other 10%, and like, let's say if I want to use it, like, is there any way or any strategies that I can actually apply to cover up those corner edge cases?
So one of the corner edge cases we could found was right now we were able to pass only one or two records as a part of sample data, right? We are able to give only little data or little context to the AI model with the help of prompt. We are trying to explore ways using RAG or other methods with the help of which we can give more details, because your AI model is as good as context to give it to AI model. If your input is wrong, it will definitely generate the wrong data, it will hallucinate. So I think those 10% of edge cases are around, if your first two rows are, if whatever two rows you are giving, let's say if they're null or blank in specific columns, then AI model will not have context of your data, right? So to cover a good amount of data or good amount of coverage across data, we should be able to give more data or more details to the AI model, which currently tokenization limit is there, right, for the AI model or prompt. So we are trying to figure out ways around that, how we can figure out and how we can give very specific optimized data set to the prompt so that it can perform well.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Richa. So, any other questions from anybody else?
Yeah.
I see Nandini.
Yeah, hi everyone. So yeah, I that was a very interesting presentation, Rucha. I learned a lot from that. I just have one question, around the referential integrity part that you talked about. So coming from a healthcare domain background, so the first thing like we have to check is the PII PHI data. So like how are we ensuring the security? Like what are the guardrails we are ensuring? Like if we are feeding the data to the model so that it is not utilized in some other activities. So just what are we thinking around the security perspective of this? We just need some insights on that.
Yeah. So from security perspective, you actually need to look around what data you are passing to the AI model, right? Because even when we pass the data, we try to avoid passing very sensitive information like prices of the part or very specific information, the PI information about the SIs or suppliers from my specific domain perspective. So right now, I think you really need to be little bit careful about passing the data when you pass PI information specifically to the data models, because you never know where it stores and how it can use it in future.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Rucha, I had a question on how was this impact measured?
So we actually had 5 to 6 data sets which we passed through our complete process, and the percentage were actually generated with, for example, the referential integrity accuracy was actually generated with total records versus flag records that was generated, the actual versus the generated records. So we try to compare that, and that's how we measured the accuracy.
Thank you.
Hi, Rucha. I had one question.
Yes.
So you set up the process, and suddenly, if there is a change in the data type or anything in the source, how do you go about this process? Is
You mean
the setup
whatever data sets are passed already, if there is a change
correct?
in those?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
then in that case, you need to update your config. You need to reiterate for that particular data set so that you will have that config generated again and you
Okay.
will have the latest information.
So again, you would go back to the business and re-verify. It has to go through from the start, verification from the business and everyone.
Yeah, yeah. So whenever you generate that config again, it definitely has to go through complete loop of generated config based on the new data types or based on the new key perspectives. If that particular output is valid or not, you need to go through human loop again.
Sure. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions, like either for Rucha or for Gomati? I'll take this silence as we are good. So then I'll hand it over to Uma for concluding the session. Uma, over to you.
Priyanka. And thank you, Dr. Gomati, Rucha, and also supporting. We have Shivani and Rama, who was also part of the project. Thanks for taking the time out and being part of the speakers of the high event. Both these sessions were really insightful, great takeaways, and definitely that got most of us thinking what are the applications. We did see some queries which had for Dr. Gomati's Bite Buddy as well. So we'll definitely reach out to you to understand more about your use cases. Thanks a lot for being part of this high event. And thanks to all the volunteers who have been the backbone in order to make this event a complete success, and having us, all of us here, and helping us gain that knowledge we had today. We have many more such sessions brought on as far as this year is concerned. Please do be plugged into the Lean and Witty events so that you are being able to participate. And we definitely look forward to having more of you as speakers as part of our high event. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, Oma. And yeah, just join us for all the event in person or virtual. We will look forward to meet you there. We are also having a book club on how women rise. That's a very interactive session. And those who want to open circles in your corporate workplaces, also reach out to me and Soumya. We would be happy to help you set up circles in the corporate as well. And apart from that, I think I should thank everybody for joining us in here. Thank you, Priyanka, Uma, and everyone. We'll also be issuing appreciation certificate for all our speakers, Gomati as well as Rucha, for making this event successful. Thank you so much for all your contribution. I think we want to take a final photograph for the event, and I would love everybody to come on the screen so that we can take the
Just if one of you to be on screen, sorry, or turn on the video, please. It would be great to.
and Uma, let us know we have to smile or no.
4 seconds. Everybody on camera.
Sudha,
Okay.
Nandini, Swati.
Please keep show Nandini, Sudha. Asha? Okay. Cheese? That's a great photo. Thank you.
just पानी रेड़ दो कुंडा में.
Please
So,
do
and
something.
have a great weekend. See you all.
Happy Dashera to all of you.
Happy this year.
Happy weekend. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining.